Oh boy, okay. It's WrestleMania weekend, so of course, WrestleMania 42 is on the horizons this Saturday and this Sunday. And God, this has been a very rough road to WrestleMania. It really has been. Because when it comes to some of the matches and the match quality in general, this should be a good Mania. I'm hoping. But the storylines and the whole build up for it has truly been an absolute disaster. Especially with one match they'll get to in a moment. But I'm going to scroll down the entire card from night one, night two. But before I get to that, I'm just hoping tonight on Raw that Io Sky versus Asuka happens because it's actually going to be ridiculous if one of the best wrestlers on the planet, Io Sky, is not at WrestleMania after walking into WrestleMania last year as the Women's World Champion. Now, I could say the same thing with Tiffany Stratton versus Julia, but the match they had on SmackDown a few weeks ago was so bad that honestly, I'm kind of glad they're not walking into Mania like for the title match because I'm expecting it to be like probably a bad match in Mania too. But anyways, let's get to the main card. So the first match is the Vision and I Show Speed versus the Usos and LA Knight in a six-man tag team match. Look, I know there's some people that are really like pissed off about the whole celebrity involvement with IShowSpeed, Speed, but I'm gonna be honest. I think IShowSpeed Speed has been the best used celebrity right now in WWE currently because he has taken a feud that I do not give a fuck about between the Vision and LA Knight and actually made it entertaining. Like you can clearly tell that IShowSpeed Speed actually cares about the business and he actually knows how the business operates. Like he's done a great job, and I know that obviously he had like his wrestling match last year against Cam Hendricks. It was truly his training to try and showcase what he can try and do in the ring to see if he can become a professional wrestler. And I'd say he did a decent job, and he could probably do a solid job here. I mean, he's got five other guys he can work with to help him carry him out through the match. So and who do I think could win? I personally think maybe I'm going to go with the Usos and LA Knight. I think ISO Speed might get the pin, but I do think that he'll probably have a solid performance. But I will say this is the first time that the tag team championships since WrestleMania 30 will not be defended. Which what? I mean WrestleMania 32 was the same as well because the New Day were champions and they didn't defend their titles either. So yeah, maybe I said WrestleMania 32. Someone definitely got that wrong on Twitter. But anyways, let's get to the other matches. We had Jake Fatu versus Drew McIntyre in an unsanctioned match. This is one of the only few builds I can say that I've actually enjoyed. As much as it does suck that Drew McIntyre lost the WWE Championship, and I feel like could have walked into Mania as champion. I will say him and Jacob Fatu have been like putting on like fucking car crashes, but that's not in a bad way because I know a lot of people they put the use of car crash in like a terrible way. But I do think that this has been a solid enough build that like they're trying to kill each other and all that. I do think Jacob Fatu will win because I do hear that Drew McIntyre will be off filming a movie. But I do think that this should be an entertaining match. Next up, we have personally the build up that I love the most heading into Mania this year, and that's Stephanie and Liv Morgan. Like midway through this feud, there was a whole lot of people online saying this feud is terrible, and I was personally questioning what y'all are watching. This feud has been great. I have loved what Stephanie and Liv have been doing. They've been adding to the throats the whole time. It started off very good with what they were doing with like the backstage segments. God, my fucking my accent is so weird, and like I just get so tongue tied all the time. But I'm doing this with no type of edits, so I just want to make it clear, just for my reaction, for the people that are watching this, that I'm not like trying to edit out or do certain things. But going back to what I was saying with this match, like even though there was like times where Liv Morgan was focused on the Judgment Day, it hasn't stopped her from focusing on Stephanie Vacquer. And last week's episode of Raw, oh my god, like Stephanie just like colliding Liv and Roxanne's skull to each other. I'm glad that Liv is okay because dear God, that was a nasty and brutal bump that she took with Roxanne, and then her getting like hit with the TV. That like bro, that had me going nuts. Like I love what they're doing. Who do I think will win? As much as I do. As much as I kind of want Stephanie to retain, I need Liv to finally win a WrestleMania match. I feel like Liv deserves a better run this time with the Women's Championship, and she needs to get a WrestleMania victory. Do I think Raquel can maybe come out and cost her? Maybe. But I'm just going to go with my gut and go with Liv Morgan. After that, we have AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch. I think this feud has gone on for way too long now. And I think it needs to end at WrestleMania. And personally, I think AJ Lee needs to win. Even though I do think Becky will possibly win because Becky hasn't gotten a single win over AJ Lee. Right now, she's 3-0 against her. I don't think Becky needs to win that title anymore. She needs to stay far away from that Women's Intercontinental Championship. Me personally, I think Roxanne Perez should beat AJ Lee for the title, or just any other talent that's Becky Lynch. Because Becky Lynch, yeah, she's done enough of that championship, but it's time to move on. Because new challengers need to step up and take the title off of her. And a younger talent like Roxanne Perez would be a great person to have as Intercontinental Champion. So yeah, I'm going to go with AJ Lee. After that, we have the Fatal 4-Way match for Women's Tag Team Championship. We have the Irresistible Forces versus Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, Bayley versus Lyra, and the Bella Twins. And I'm just going to say it right now. If the Bellas are not cleared, make it a triple threat. Please, WWE, do not add Asuka and Kairi Sane to the match. It makes no sense to add those two into the Fatal 4-Way match. Because, oh yes, they're an established tag team, but right now, Kairi Sane is scared to death to try and work with Asuka. You should have Kairi Sane be like the special guest referee for Io and Asuka, because that match should be happening at WrestleMania, and especially on night 2, because night 2 is less matches. But anyways, back to this match, Bayley and Lyra need to win. Like, I've been sick to death of the booking for both of them, especially when Lyra lost the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Like, after she lost to Becky at SummerSlam, I felt like her booking was very top to bottom. Like, there was moments where she was good, moments where she was bad. And it's the same with Bayley. It's like, I need these two to win because they should have won the tag titles last year and they got screwed over when Bayley was taken out. This is their chance of redemption. So yeah, I'm going to go with Bayley and Lyra. As much as it does suck that I do want them to win, and I possibly could suck for Last Legend, because I do think Last Legend possibly could have a much better run or a much longer run. I just need Bayley and Lyra to finally get the redemption. So yeah, I'm going to go with them. The next one we have is Seth versus Gunther. And, oh boy. This one I'm very 50-50 on. Because this is kind of a lose-lose situation. You don't really want Seth to lose, but you also don't want Gunther to lose. I think the match is going to be amazing. Even though it doesn't really have much of a story, mostly because Braun Breaker, while it's cleared, they didn't want him back because obviously the hernia that he had, and they don't want to try and throw him straight to the wolves because he potentially could break it again. And while I know a lot of people criticize WWE on that, I actually appreciate them doing it because a hernia injury can be serious and it affects your body, affects the part where like Braun Breaker goes for the spear, and he potentially could be on the ground just holding his stomach, and yeah, that wouldn't be good. But, or like just any part of his body. But back to what I was saying with this match, I do think Gunther possibly could win, because I think Braun Breaker could come back and potentially cost Seth Rollins the match. That could be the case, because I don't think Seth technically really needs this. But yeah, I'm just going to go with Gunther. And then we get to the main event of night 1. Oh, God. Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. This has been a slog to get through. Well, okay. When it was just Cody and Randy, it was perfectly fine. But when Pat McAfee's bitch ass got involved, this whole feud went from, honestly, to me, like a 7 to a negative 10. I have hated the Pat McAfee involvement. It makes no sense. There is no reason why I should see him on television. He is better off doing commentary than being pretty much the main central focal point for the match between Cody and Randy, even though it should be about Cody and Randy. Randy Orton's pretty much the sidekick because on SmackDown you had Pat McAfee hold Cody's championship and walk straight to the backstage area with that title, not even letting Randy hold it a single time. Dear God. I think it's pretty clear that Randy's going to win, but the stipulation that if Randy loses, McAfee leaves the professional wrestling business for good. I personally want Cody to win, so I don't see Pat McAfee anymore. But it's clear that Randy is going to win, so they can do a tag match at Backlash, where it's Cody Rhodes and Jelly Roll versus Randy Orton and Pat McAfee. And, like, who wants to see that? Like, who in their right mind wants to see this? And I can't even blame Triple H on this one because this is all TKO. This is all Ari Emanuel. And it pisses me off, and it pisses off the talent and creative. They're all upset with what TKO is doing right now. With all of these celebrities getting involved for no reason besides speed. I think, like, speed gets a pass for me. Like, all of them do nothing to help the product. And you had one of the worst promos and one of the worst segments I've seen in a long ass time on SmackDown where Pat McAfee basically lowered the prices to 20% off for night one of WrestleMania, but just for night one, not even for night two, just for that whole thing to fail. Because if you don't know, the ticket prices still didn't really go down that much, and people are not buying for night one because there's still more people that bought for night two, most likely because it's either because the card is better or because they just don't want to see the main event. Because the main event could be an absolute disaster, despite the fact that you have two great wrestlers right in front of you. And it's all because Pat McAfee is going to possibly ruin it. But yeah, as much as I want Cody to win, I think Randy's going to do it. And then we're going to continue to deal with this whole WWE TKO bullshit, which I'm telling you right now, if this is just all just to be unreeled, then I'm going to face palm it. Because, dear Lord. But now I get to night two, thank God. So we have Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. Even though Stephanie and Liv has been personally my favorite build-up, this is the most hyped up build-up because a lot of fans are so ecstatic for Obafemi and Brock Lesnar to the point where they're willing to watch that match more than any of the matches that are on the card. Even though it most likely is going to be short because I don't expect Brock Lesnar to have maybe a 15-minute match with Obafemi unless they actually have the balls to do it. But speaking of Obafemi, it is a must-win for him. I really don't understand why there are people online saying Brock Lesnar should beat Obafemi. Brock beating Oba does absolutely nothing for Oba. It just drags all the momentum that Oba has down the drain. And don't even try and say, oh, he can have Oba lose so that Brock gets redemption at SummerSlam. If you saw what happened on Raw last week, it's very clear that it's going to be Brock Lesnar versus Gunther at SummerSlam. So if you're going to go that route, then Oba has to win. Brock does not need this win. He doesn't need this win at all. It does nothing for him, and it hurts Obafemi. So yeah, Oba got to win this match. Next is the six-pack ladder match. It's Penta, Javon Evans, Dragon Lee, JD McDonough, Rusev, and Rey Mysterio because he didn't want to retire to Gunther. But as for this match, I think this match is going to absolutely slap. I love ladder matches at WrestleMania, or ladder matches in general. They're my all-time favorite stipulation in terms of match quality. So I know this has the potential to deliver, especially with the talent that are in this match. Now, who do I want to win? Okay, Penta, you're amazing. You're fantastic. But it is time for Javon Evans to finally win a championship. Every single person that is in this match at least has the privilege to say that they have held a title in WWE, whether it is the main roster, NXT, or hell, even NXT UK for JD McDonough. But Javon Evans has been here for 2 years, and despite how talented he is, he never won the NXT Championship, which to me was one of the most confusing things in NXT history, because how talented he was, he never got that title. And even Shawn Michaels wanted to keep him. He didn't want him to go to the main roster, which that right to tell you that Javon Evans is one of the biggest what-ifs in NXT history. So this is their time to correct the mistake and to finally crown him with a championship. Javon Evans has had the most matches so far in 2026, and he is one of the best things going in all of wrestling right now. With how he is on Raw, you cannot fumble this. You have to give him the title. It is time for Javon Evans to finally get what he deserves. So yeah, I want him to win so badly. Next is Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley for the Women's Championship. If it wasn't for Cody and Randy, this would be the match that I care for the least. Because I seriously do not care for this match at all. If y'all see my videos, y'all already know how I feel about Jade Cargill. Hell, I even took a diss at Jade Cargill in the promo package between Jose Rivera and Morrison Moore, which I'll even link that in the description so you can watch it. Very good promo package, by the way. But yeah, I've been done with Jade Cargill's push. I'm sick of it. And this whole faction of her, B-Fab and Michin, Doesn't really make much sense because, well, I guess it's pretty much is the if you can't beat him, join him type of monologue. Like, BFAB and Misha have been bullied for months, and they were injured by Jade Cargill, so, like, why the hell would they be working with her? Like, this is, like, one of the matches where I'm like, can you please just have Rhea win so you can take the title off of her? Like, I know I've had my issues with Rhea Ripley, but it wasn't really, like, her as a talent. She's a fantastic wrestler. It's just mostly from when she was holding the Women's World Championship. But I never had an issue if she went over to the other brand, SmackDown, and held that championship because they've never held that version of that title yet. So personally, I think she should go over there and beat Jade Cargill, because she has to. Seriously, I'm done with Jade Cargill. Win that championship and help boost the SmackDown Women's division because it badly is needed right now. Then we have Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams for the United States Championship, and it is complete bullshit that Carmelo Hayes is not in this match. He should be in this because it's the fact that he worked for 3 months to make the United States Championship feel special, and he doesn't get rewarded. Now that right there is a shot to Triple H, and that right there is a shot that will never miss. But as for this match, it's very clear that this is mostly just going to be Trick Williams winning. They gave Sami the title just for Trick to win the championship. Now, I think the Little Yachty involvement is unnecessary, like I said, with the whole Pat McAfee thing, but at least it's not as bad as what Pat McAfee is doing, because at least it's not going out there and just berating and burying the company. But yeah, Trick is going to win the championship. He's one of the hottest things going in wrestling right now, and all of SmackDown, so yeah, he's going to win. Next is Demon Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio, and it should be an easy victory for Finn Balor. I will say the build-up kind of lowered its steam. Like, there were certain people, like I said earlier, that said Liv Morgan, Stephanie Vaquer, steam was lowering, and I disagree with that one, but I do agree with Finn and Dominic. I feel like the hype for this match is kind of low, but I do think the Demon should win, because if you actually have Dominic beat the Demon, then at that point, never show the Demon ever on television, because it's already bad enough that he lost to Edge, which made no sense. So you should just have him get this victory to redeem that loss. And then the main event of night 2, CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. This one is probably going to take a little bit to try and talk about because I like both guys. I really do. But as much as it pains me to say it, actually no, it really doesn't. CM Punk needs to retain. I'm just keeping a buck and very clear. CM Punk, to me, has to retain the championship. I do not want to live in a world where Roman Reigns is champion once again. He does not need that title. He already had a 4-year run with the Undisputed WWE Championship. We do not need to see it again. And I know it's going to piss off a lot of the Roman Glazers, all the Roman stands, which to me are the most toxic fan base right now in all of wrestling currently. But it's just true. Because, like, if Roman's going to have this part-time schedule, then it's just going to affect the product. And it's not going to be great because we already know how grueling it was when he was champion for so long and he took a part-time schedule. It really affected Raw because Raw had no world champion. I don't want to try and live in that again because it sucks so much when you have all these talent doing so much and they don't get rewarded because the champion isn't there. It's the same with Brock Lesnar. But it definitely wasn't as bad because at least Roman Reigns had a storyline going on while Brock was not doing jack shit and didn't even care. So yeah, I just want Punk to win. Not just because to me I feel like he's done a good job, but also because I feel like it's necessary. If you have Roman win, it's very clear that they're going to go straight to WrestleMania 43 and do Roman Reigns versus The Rock, which I could care less about that match right now. Rock at this point is at the lowest point of his career to try and have a wrestling match. He's better off just doing things in Hollywood rather than stepping back in that wrestling ring. And Roman does not need the championship anymore, so just have Punk win so that Punk can at least hold it on for a little longer. So I think like guys like Obafemi or maybe even a returning Braun Breaker could beat him because I'm still pissed off that Braun Breaker didn't beat Punk for the world championship. But yeah, that's my WrestleMania predictions. Oh, God. I'm just hoping that Cody wins. I know he won't, but I just really, for the life of me, just want to see him just send a receipt to Pat McAfee and low blow him straight in the balls. Because right now, the one thing I can try and pray for is Pat McAfee's lips to shut these, like, I got it. I'm so tongue-tied and pissed off. Ugh. I just want Pat McAfee, at this point, to be shoved straight in a trash can. You know what? We'll end it like that. Be shoved straight in a trash can by Cody Rhodes and be rolled out on the ramp so we never have to see him again.